Shabbat Shalom. We are testing. Shabbat Shalom. No one here today. Oh, amazing. I will go get you the clicker. Remote. That was what I was looking for. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
It's already live streaming. Everything's all set up. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, forgot something. Okay. So I think that we are going to take one more moment before services begin. And if you would like, you can take a moment just to take a deep breath in and out. Or if you would like, you may say Shabbat Shalom to somebody you haven't said Shabbat Shalom to yet. Or send Shabbat Shalom greetings out into the world. Write a note to yourself to say Shabbat Shalom to people via text after services, or you could do it right now, but don't tell me.
Yours was the hardest service I had Cinder ever.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it wasn't that. It was trying to write. I was trying to write my speech so that so that I incorporated something that everybody said.
That's a lot. 6.
There were 6 of you,
Yes.
but I wanted to say something about each of you.
Yes. I think you got it.
Thank you. But, it was just not easy.
No.
Thank you.
You know, it took us a while. It took me a while.
You guys are amazing.
Okay, we are going to get started. We're on page 128 with the words Hine Matov. Hine Matov, ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שבת אחים גם יחד. We continue welcoming Shabbat with the lighting of Shabbat candles, and it's my pleasure to invite Susan Amaro to help us with that. We are on page 121.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Let us take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We are on page 138 as we sing the words Lecha Dodi, welcoming Shabbat as though she is a bride. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat, nekavela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat, nekavela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, yishmi'anu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litechila. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat, nekavela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pnei Shabbat, nekavela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'necha, ki mekor haberacha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Please rise in the ways you're able. בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי, לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Please remain standing, and we turn to page 146 for the words of Baruch Hu as we transition into Shema uvirchotecha, Shema and her blessings. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. We are on page 148 as we sing Borei Yom Valayla, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech, V'Choshech Mipnei Or, the one who creates light and darkness, both of which we have been experiencing. We've been experiencing so much light and sun, and it feels so good to just be outside these days. And because the days are so bright, then the nights feel a little bit darker. They feel a little bit cozier, perhaps, and we get to experience a little bit of both the warmth and the cool, the light and the darkness, the day and the night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei Yom Valayla, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech, Golel Or Mipnei Choshech, V'Choshech Mipnei Or. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day night, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, vechoshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who bring us on the evening. We are on page 152 for the words of Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha. Ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha. Veshinantam levanecha, vedibarta bam, beshivtecha bevetecha, uvlechtecha vaderech, uvshochbecha uvkumecha, ukshartam leot ayadecha, vehayu letotafot beineinecha. Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha lema'an tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim le'Elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiot lachem le'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. Page 155. Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today, and teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired or you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Let them keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God. We are on page 158 for the words of Mi Chamocha. Ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai Mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tehilo dosei vele Nora tehilo dosei vele Malechutecha ra'u vanecha V'kiyayam lifnei Moshe Miriam Ze'elianu ve'amru Ze'elianu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 We are on page 160. And before we sing the words of Hashkivenu, let's pause for a moment and think about the rest that we are hoping to get this Shabbat, the rest that we are wishing for others in our lives this Shabbat, and the rest we are hoping for our world this Shabbat. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu leChaim Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom V'hamidenu Shomreinu leChaim Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai Baruch Ata Adonai Hapores Sukat Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We are on the next page, page 162, as we sing the words of Vishamru. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We are on page 164 for the words of Adonai Sfatai, and we are going to do a melody for Adonai Sfatai that repeats itself a bunch of times. So if you're ready right now, you can stand right now. If you're not quite ready, we're going to be repeating it a couple times, so hopefully by the time that we are done repeating it, then hopefully you will be standing. Ananana Adonai, Ananana Sfatai Tiftach, Ananana Ufi Agid, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Ananana Adonai, Ananana Sfatai Tiftach, Ananana Ufi Agid, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Ananana Adonai, Ananana Sfatai Tiftach, Ananana Ufi Agid, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Ananana Adonai, Ananana Sfatai Tiftach, Ananana Ufi Agid, Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol Vezocher Chasdei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem Le'ma'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor leolam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah rav lehoshia. Morid hatal, Mechalkel chaim bechesed. Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayim emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, Melech me'mitz u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelujah selah Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Please take a moment for your own silent prayer and feel free to be seated when your personal prayer is completed. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Uyase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Ose shalom, shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Ve'al kol In New York City, on the Lower East Side, in an old apartment building on the 4th floor, lived a little girl named Raina with a lot of trouble. Raina had heard about trouble. Her parents and her grandparents talked about it all the time, but they called it Surus. And whenever they noticed little listening Raina, as they called her, they would try to change the subject. But still, she knew about the trouble when she heard it. She saw the worried looks and the wringing of the hands and the arms up in the air. And she knew some Surus of her own. Like what? Like ever since her baby brother had been born, no one ever picked her up anymore unless she was hurt. Like spelling. Like Brussels sprouts. These things made her feel sad or stressed out or a little sick to her stomach. But even though Raina was little, she tried not to let her tsuris bother her like the grown-ups she saw around her. Whenever tsuris popped up, she just popped them into a bag. She didn't fret or scream or cry or complain the way the grown-ups did. Raina just crammed her tsuris into a patched-up pillowcase, tied it closed with a little sash from an old dress, and carried it around with her. She had kept her troubles from bothering her for a long time that way, until now. Now it seemed forever to walk the 3 short blocks to school, past the old bakery, the tailor's shop, and the fabric store. Raina was already exhausted from trudging, and the day had barely begun. It was only when she looked behind her that she realized why. Ever since yesterday, when Goldie, her best friend, had become Molly's best friend instead, the bag had become enormous and so heavy. Raina's teacher was waiting for her at the classroom door. "Raina, dear," she said, tapping her watch. "You are 10 minutes late. Where have you been, and what is that thing dragging behind you?" "Oh, teacher," Raina said, collapsing into her seat. "I'm so sorry that I'm late, but it's nothing but trouble, I tell you." "It's nothing but trouble" is a phrase that she heard often at home. "Trouble?" Her teacher's stern face turned surprised. "Are you telling me that a child like you has troubles?" "You don't know the half of it," Raina answered, and the whole class buzzed with agreement, pouring out tales of their own Surus. And finally, the teacher clapped her hands for quiet. "Okay, class, so I'm hearing that you've all got a lot of troubles, don't you?" she said. "Well, classwork can wait. This is more important. Tonight, I want you all to go home and put your troubles into a bag like Raina's. Don't be shy and don't leave anything out. Tomorrow, bring your bags to school." Raina squirmed in her seat. She didn't want to share her problems with the whole class. So on her way home from school, Raina snuck behind the fish store where no one was looking, and she flung her bag into the trash. Because it was so big, it took a few times. She had to get it in there. Ooh, there. That would get rid of her problems once and for all. That evening, though, there was a knock at the door of her apartment. And the fishman stood there with her poor threadbare pillowcase dangling in one hand, kind of away because it was starting to smell. "Raina," he said, handing it to her, "I think you lost this today." When he saw her open mouth, he added, "Oh, I knew it was yours. I'd recognize it anywhere." She rolled her eyes. So the bag of trouble was back, and even heavier than before, and smelling like fish. Raina put the bag out on the fire escape and lay awake for a long time, wishing she herself could escape. By the time Raina dragged her bag to school the next day, her classmates' desks were piled with string bags, paper bags, cloth bags, and even a few pillowcases just like her own. Some children had 2 of them. Teacher, Molly was asking, what are we going to do now? Are we going to get rid of them? Oh, no, dear, the teacher exclaimed. You can't just get rid of your troubles. You're telling me, Raina said. Raina shook her head sadly as she sat down. I tried that yesterday. They just got bigger and stinkier. Exactly right, the teacher said. So here's what we are going to do, class. In a moment, we are going to open up our bags and share with one another what we have in them. Share what's in our bags? How is that going to help? Raina thought to herself. But as she looked around the class, she saw her classmates unload trouble by trouble. And she started to take her own troubles out one by one. And each time was just as scary as the first. She brought something out of her pillowcase and she would think to herself, oh no, what will my classmates think if they see this one? She thought to herself as she began pulling out being scolded about forgotten homework, and then chicken pox, and then worrying about her family, and hearing about her parents arguing, and about her brother who kept on crying and she could never get any sleep. And as she continued unloading the thesaurus from her pillowcase, she looked around the room and began to notice the problems that her classmates had. Her classmates had all sorts of troubles, more kinds of trouble than she had ever imagined. A failed test here, a stomach ache there, someone's goldfish had died, another's father worked so much that he was hardly ever home, someone else's sister was sick all of the time. She was overwhelmed by some of the thesaurus that her classmates were dealing with. I can't imagine what that would be like, she thought to herself. Then Raina continued to look a little closer around the room, and it turned out that there were other students who had similar troubles to her own. She wasn't alone in some of the things that she carried around. It didn't fix the problems themselves, but it was helpful to know. Raina wondered if she might ask her classmates how they dealt with their troubles that they shared. Raina looked back at her bag and began to fight back a tear, because as she looked at her pillowcase, even if just for a moment, it was flat and small and empty. Small enough that she could fold it up and stuff it into her pocket. All those things that she had stuffed into her pillowcase had weighed her down so much that to take it out of the pillowcase made her feel lighter than air. So, children, the teacher said briskly, there are some who would tell you that this exercise is to learn that there are always people who have more difficult problems than you, or perhaps more problems in total. But what I want to tell you, what I want you to notice, is how different it feels to keep those thesaurus bottled up, rather than to take them out every once in a while with some people that you trust. Even as Raina put her thesaurus away at the end of class, something had felt just a little different than it had before. And soon after, her family began to wonder why little listening Raina seemed happier than she had in a really long time. And when they asked her, she answered with a dramatic sigh, oh, I still have plenty of thesaurus, let me tell you, but I know how to handle them. The secret is, she lowered her voice, they need company, just like anybody else. Take your troubles out every once in a while with people you trust when your bag is starting to feel a little heavy. That will keep them out of your way. Try it. You'll see what I mean. This story was adapted from a more traditional Jewish story that was passed down through the ages, and you might guess that the original lesson was not necessarily share with people you trust, and it will help you to remember what it feels like to not hold things in your bag so much. And that actually the original lesson is, or was, if you take out your tsuris at the same time that you're around other people, you'll see that other people have it worse. Generational trauma will tell us that there was always going to be somebody who had something worse than us. Having a tsuris Olympics, if you will, is not necessarily what's going to make us feel better. But the act of taking our tsuris out of the bag, even just for a moment, with people that we trust, actually can help us to feel a little bit lighter, can help us to remember that we don't have to hold it alone and that other people may be holding the same tsuris that we are holding. And as we are coming to a lighter time of year where there's light in the sky and there's light reflecting off the flowers and there's light around us much more of the day, we deserve to have light too. Levity, not just in terms of reflecting sun, but levity, not holding on to so much weight in our lives. So my blessing for us this Shabbat, and as we continue on into the summer and into this next season of our lives, is that each of us has a bag of tsuris. We can't really avoid that. Each of us has whatever is in our lives, and we carry that with us. But God willing, we can find some people to share our tsuris with and to remember that moment of levity where we don't have to hold on to it just by ourselves. Cain, Yehirat Son, may this be God's will. We are going to turn to page 371, where we will pray for healing of body, healing of spirit, healing of soul. If there is someone on your mind who is in need of healing blessings, if you're joining us on Zoom, please feel free to type their name in the chat or to say their name aloud to someone else in the room with you. And if you're in person with us, please feel free to share their name aloud or in your heart as my hand passes over your section.
Carrie King, Greg King, and Hunters, Ethan Alexander, and myself.
Michael Milovich and Naomi Ayala. Bob Ringless.
My sister Jeannie, Alvin, Jerry Ann, and Marilyn Darrell.
Cousin Martin and Danny Rick.
We'll pause a moment in case any of our friends on Zoom are still typing. For all those names that we've said aloud, those we've typed in the chat, and those that we keep in our hearts, we turn to page 371 as we pray the Misha Berach. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. we now come to our favorite counting moment in the week. Well, of the day, actually. Technically, we would be counting every day this week. We are on page 570. So we have made it all the way to 5 weeks and 2 days, which is 37 days. We are making our way very quickly. It seems like Passover was just yesterday, except for it apparently was not just yesterday. It was 36 days ago instead. Pretty crazy. And so part of what that means is that we are very quickly approaching Shavuot, which will be at the end of 49 days and then an extra day. And we will be celebrating Shabbat together. We'll talk about it later during the announcements, but just so you know, as we're getting closer to 49, Shavuot is approaching. So let's say the blessing together. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Our praise to you, Adonai, sovereign of all, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to count the Omer. Hayom shiv'a ushloshim yom. Yes, shiv'a ushloshim yom, shehem chamisha shavuot ushne yamim la'omer. Today is 37 days, which is 5 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. We made it. Now on to 38. That will be tomorrow evening. We are on page 586 for the words of Aleinu. Please rise in all the ways you are able. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Please be seated. We take this moment to think of those who are no longer with us on this earth, but remain with us in our memories of them and in the way they influenced how we walk this earth. As your loved one's name is read, please rise. We are in the period of Shloshim, the 30-day period since burial for Anna Greenberg, mother of Amy Nardini. And we are remembering the yahrzeits of the following people: Marcia Ben Ora, mother of Rabbi Eve Ben Ora; Faye Corbett, mother of Arnold Corbett; Ralph Alphont, brother of Betty Rogoff; Leonard Green, father of Renee Gay; Lily Ratner Shirey, mother of Michelle Burke; Eliza Strad, remembered by Joel Strad; Judith Wolfson, remembered by Deborah Salcedo; and Angela Gold, remembered by Sonia Radcliffe. We now invite all who are observing their first year of mourning to rise at this time. And we now rise as a community with our mourners as we turn to page 598 for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mavorach le'olam ulalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'it hadar, v'it aleh, v'it halal, shmei dekudsha, brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tu shbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemayim, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha, may all of their memories be for a blessing, to which we say, amen. Please be seated. And it's my pleasure to invite Ronnie Peterson to share with us words of announcement. Ronnie is in our past president role on the board, and we're grateful for all that she does for our community.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Join Rabbi Zoe on Zoom this Sunday, May 14th at 11 a.m. for Torah study. Join us for Planned Parenthood's Jewish American Heritage Month event on May 22nd at 6 p.m. on Zoom. Rabbi Zoe will join Rabbi Laura Novak-Weiner and Rabbi Sarah Zober in a roundtable conversation about the intersections of reproductive freedom, justice, and Judaism. For more information, please contact Rabbi Zoe. The link to attend will be in next week's weekly. Shavuot celebrates the giving of the Torah at Mount Sinai after escaping Egypt. Join us on Thursday, May 25th at 7:30 p.m. for our annual Shavuot service and study with Congregation Beth Emek, which will be held in Pleasanton this year. Rabbi Zoe and Rabbi Milder will lead a musical service together. The rabbis will each lead us in text study on this year's theme, What Makes Sacred Space Sacred? For questions or to learn more, please contact Rabbi Zoe. There will be a Shavuot Yizkor service on Zoom Friday morning, May the 26th at 10:30 a.m. On Sunday, May 28th, Rabbi Eve will lead us in a challah baking from 10:30 until noon. This multi-access event is being co-sponsored by WTBT and the Tri-City chapter of Hadassah. Cost to attend is $35 a person. Save the date for WTBT's 2023 installation tea, Sunday, June the 11th at 3:15 p.m. Watch the weekly for details coming soon. Big changes are coming soon. Our website is currently under construction, so temporarily some information may not be available or current. You can still make payments and donations and view the calendar, but check the weekly or contact the office with questions. We appreciate your patience. Speaking of big changes, new windows are being installed at TBT the week of May 22nd, and we need your help. We've started a Beautify the Windows campaign to replace all old, broken blinds. You can contribute online to the Beautification Fund. Cash or checks can be given to the office or dropped in the tzedakah box at the back of the social hall. Any additional funds collected will be used for future beautification projects. Sunday, June 4th is shaping up to be a very busy day at TBT. Join us at 9:30 a.m. for Mitzvah Day. Projects will be discussed on beautification and safety preparedness. Then stay for the annual meeting at 11 a.m. Lunch will be provided. Keep an eye on the weekly for more details and registration information. Remember, in order to attend the annual meeting, you must be a member in good standing. If you have questions about your membership status, contact Mara. Thank you to Susan Amaro and Ann Anderson for representing the worship committee, and to Sean Rahman for stepping up to do AV tonight. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you to Ronnie for sharing those words of announcement. Listen, there's always good stuff happening here at Temple Beth Torah. And a fun tidbit about the panel that I'll be on with Planned Parenthood of Marmonte is that Rabbi Laura Novak Weiner was the rabbi who was at my installation just a year and some change ago. So that's really such an honor that I'll be able to be a part of that conversation, and it's an important conversation to have because sometimes those kinds of topics fall out of the news cycle, but they are still impacting an incredible amount of people in our country. So I hope that you will join us that evening. So we are going to continue with some blessings. It's always good to be grateful. So we'll start off with family blessings. I encourage you to reach out to people who you consider family, however you define it. And if you are not in the same room as somebody who you want to send this blessing to, I encourage you to hold them in your heart, bring them to mind, and we hope that they receive this blessing. May God bless you and keep you. May God shine God's face upon you and be gracious to you. May God's face turn to you and grant you peace, to which we say, Amen. We continue with Kiddush and Motzi. Kiddush is on page 123. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikrae kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'charta, ve'otanu kidashta, mikol hamim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. L'chaim. And a quick motzi. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. We are going to conclude our service on page 129 with the words, Hevenu Shalom Aleichem. I lied. Those words are not on page 129. A lot of points to whoever can find the actual page it's on. It's somewhere in here. It's somewhere in here. We know the words. Hevenu Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem. What was that? 644. Absolutely. So close. Amazing, wonderful. We are concluding on page 644 with the words, Hevenu Shalom Aleichem. Alechem Hevenu Shalom. Shubidubap dubap. Hevenu Shalom Alechem. Alechem Hevenu Shalom. Hevenu Shalom Alechem. Alechem Hevenu Shalom. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hevenu Shalom Alechem. Alechem Hevenu Shalom. Hevenu Shalom Alechem. Alechem Hevenu. Alechem Hevenu. Alechem Hevenu Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom to our friends on Zoom and on live stream. Wishing you a